Hello, friend. Jeff G here yet again, and we're still talking about improvising over the chord changes to Hun Ying Ju Meng. And I hope I'm saying that right because I've just learned how to say it and I've got it written down here and I keep looking at it. But as we talked about before, the chord changes in the key of D, there are several things that it does. One thing to bear in mind is that just like our analogy in the last video about writing a story that has to take place on a football field, your story, when you're improvising over the chords of Hun Ying Ju Meng, it's got to take place over the chord changes provided. Okay, so that's kind of a parameter. And one thing, I'll give you the first tool here. The first tool to really get started is to limit yourself to fewer notes to begin with. Like in the case of, if we're talking about, on the first tool, let's talk about chord tones, all right? And the first few bars, they start off in D. Well, you know it's got a D, an F sharp, and an A in that D chord. You could do something like this, so if you want to, but better to limit yourself to part of the chord and come up with a little riff. Now, one thing I had a question before, which is a really great question, is what rhythm do you use? And the answer to that is you are creating the rhythm. You're going to create the rhythm that you use over this. Okay, so you could invent a rhythm, and I'll tell you how I invent a rhythm. I grab the first thing that I see. For instance, okay, I'm grabbing this sinus thing off my shelf, okay, and I'm going to read the words. Lemongrass cool. All right, lemongrass cool. Lemongrass cool. Lemongrass cool. Lemongrass cool. And think to my mind, okay, I'm making a little rhythm. That's just off the top of my head right there. Now, when you do your improvisation, you're going to be working with the track. So let that rhythm of the track inspire you a little bit. Okay, there's some areas where there's really no right or wrong, except that I would say a good standard rule is the ear is the boss. If it sounds good, it is good. Okay, and just in our story where we had the football field and we had when we have a cell phone, a monkey, and a newspaper, you can think that these tools I'm going to explain to you. Tool number one is chord tones. Okay, try to use the tools. You don't have to only use the tools. In fact, it'd be great if you come up with something of your own to go further with it, but try to use the tools because they will help you to come up with something more of a solo. In the next video, I'm going to tell you more about the B blues scale and how we can use it, and we'll talk about a couple other things. All right, have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.